Aregbesola orders to lead opposition against Tinubu APC. Leadership tenure in Nigeria. The case for a single 6-year term by Afe Babalola. Benue and other killings. The joke is on us. Naira depreciates to 1,585 naira per dollar in parallel markets.
This brings me to our Punch newspaper. On Punch, 2027 crossfire, APC strikes back after Mark Lamido slammed Tinubu's government. Marketers snub Dangote price quotes, retain high fuel costs. Akeredolu's death probe sparks tension in Ondo. Fraud, I was desperate to succeed. Convicted Nigerian tells U.S. court. Suspected cultists, vandals arrested in Lagos 2027. Obi Summit 110 proposal to articulate coalition. BDC operator narrates role in 3.4 billion naira cybercrime money laundering trial. CSO fingers political enemies as Wike dismisses non-scandal. Driver killed as trucks collide on Lagos Ibadan Expressway. The top stories on the Punch.
The top stories on the Nation Nigeria for this morning. Our vision for FCT by Tinubu. Atiku, Mark, Dambuwa, Secondus, Egbu, others head for ADC. Governors Badaru, Dangote, Otedola, others bid Dantata farewell. Black race not lazy, says Tinubu. Federal government to drive investment with Africans for African Fund. Nimet, human lives, buildings, others at risk of extreme weather. Floods kill 4 in Gombe, 2 in Borno. AMCON ex-director denies signing Arik Air loan deal. Federal government reveals counter-terrorism strategy, and that's all on the Nation newspaper for this morning.
Now to Nigerian Tribune. David Mark Aregbesola emerged ADC interim chairman secretary. Ganduje, beware no one is indispensable to Tinubu. Dele Momodu warns Akpabio. David Bonoboy, Mason Asake, Tubaba, Miss Kid make Grammys 10 Afrobeat Evolution song. That's an entertainment article. David Mark, ex-governor, in high-level meeting over anti-Tinubu alliance. On foreign scene, Israeli strike on Gaza cave kills dozens, injures 75. 7 bandit commanders, 182 others killed in Zamfara.
Enjoy.
You're welcome on Vicinity Newspaper Review this morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Salman Abdulmalik.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, sir. Good morning, sir.
Fine, thank you. Thank you for joining us on the program this morning.
It's my pleasure.
Yes, sir. on Daily Trust, in front of me is the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. The story is ahead ADC's meeting today. Atiku woos PDP leaders to coalition. The former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has called on leaders and members of the PDP to join a broader opposition coalition to rescue Nigeria from the ruling All Progressive Party in 2027. Sir, what do you have to say about this?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
For me, that's a good development for Nigeria's democracy and political system because, as we all know, the 2027 election is approaching, although we still have about 2 years before the election, but we have seen recently that different political parties, political activists, they are coming together to make plans ahead of 2027. So for the former vice president and other people to come together to form a sort of coalition, I think is a good one for Nigeria's democracy. One thing we should know is that democracy is about choices, giving the people credible choices. So if this sort of coalition come ahead, I think is a good one. And if we can flash back, we know that this is not the first time that politicians and political parties are coming together to form coalition. We have had cases of that even in 2014 prior to the 2015 general elections. The current ruling party in Nigeria, which is the APC, we have some political parties coming together in the case of the ANPP, the ACN as it was then, and some factions of the then ruling party, the PDP, coming together to form a coalition. So for me, it's a good one for people to, it's a good one for Nigerians because we have credible choices to make when the time comes for the 2027 election. So I think it's a good one and is encouraging. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, still on 2027 election, we have heard in recent times, and Obi has always stood by his word, saying that he would just want to contest. He would want to contest in the election and just run for a term. And people have said that, what are you trying to, are you trying to make us see that you just want to serve 4 years and do with them, which is not very common since we began, democracy since the time of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, and Obi has submitted a one-term proposal to articulate coalition. And until now, we're not even sure if Obi is ready to join the coalition because he has said the only coalition he is joining is the coalition against corruption and hardship in the nation. At this point, if the coalition, decide to, accept Obi's submission, do you think they're ready to give? They would want to make Obi a flag bearer for the presidential election come 2027?
Well, for former Governor Peter Obi to come up with such a proposal, that is still part of political planning ahead of 2027. But we should know that in Nigeria we run what we call, we follow the constitution, which is each political party and even the electoral process as follow the constitution. So and we know our constitution allows for the president to contest for 2 terms. So at the level of the coalition, it may be acceptable. It depends on other people who are part of the coalition. But as Nigerians who are looking for the 2027 election, anything can come up at any time. I think Mr. Peter Obi has a good chance of looking at his record as he contested the most recent election, and we can see his performance. It was not too bad. He had the support of young Nigerians. So building on that, I think he has a chance in the coalition. He has something to put forward, like say, look at my past. I contested at this time. I was a governor. I was able to do this. So I think he has some things to bring forward to the coalition to be able to be considered for the ticket. But I don't think it will be easy because we have other people in the coalition, and there are some other factors that need to be put in place in giving the ticket. I think they need to consider the issue of, Nigeria, we have different geopolitical zones, and as we all know, some people have had the opportunity more than others. And even if we go in that direction, I think Mr. Peter Obi, in another way, still has the opportunity because the region where he comes from, which is the southeast, they have not really had the opportunity. Look, since we started this democracy in 1999. So I think he has something good to put forward to be considered for the ticket in the coalition, but he has to be able to slug it out with other contenders who may be coming from different geopolitical zones and with different political backgrounds.
Yeah. Thank you. Still on the 2027 election, INEC proposes fresh guidelines for review of election results. Ahead of the 2027 election, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has announced plans to release supplementary regulations to guide the review of declaration and returns during election. The chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, in Abuja, disclosed this during the second quarterly meeting with resident electoral commissions, where he also urged them to take full responsibility for their constitutional duties, emphasizing that their role extends beyond the general election. So, sir, these fresh guidelines, do you think the implementation, do you think they'll be able to implement it?
Well, going back to, if you want to assess the preparation for the 2027 election, I think we need to go back to how INEC performed in the last election, and if they were able to meet up with what they said they were going to do in the last election. I think if we should go by that, some people have lost interest in INEC because if you look at the last election, one of the main requirements as stated in the electoral guideline as prepared by INEC then, and even in the Electoral Act, is the use of the technology in election, which is the use of the beavers for the election to transmit the result of the election. But as it turned out on the day of election, it was reported that there was a glitch which made it difficult for the result to be transmitted electronically. So in that case, since then we have not had a kind of a cogent explanation from INEC what caused the glitch, what has been done to remedy that so that that does not happen in the future. So I think the first thing for INEC to do is to be able to build trust in the electorate, to be able to let people know that they are serious and people should take them by their words. So it's good to come up with electoral guidelines because we need guidelines, we need rules that follow the constitution, but that is just half of the job. The next part is to follow it to the letter, that is to make it practicable, to implement it as we have stated in the guideline. So I think going forward to 2027, it is now good for INEC that they have come out early enough to put out this guideline, but they need to do a lot of work to get it across to the people so that people are aware of what the guideline says and they give their trust to the people, that people should hold them by their word that this time around they are going to follow the guideline and make sure that everything is according to the law. I think that's the most important thing for INEC to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's still around political parties and preparations towards 2027 election. As it says on Nigerian Tribune, so Senate President Godswill Akpabio has been warned by Dele Momodu, saying that he should beware that no one is indispensable to President Bola Tinubu. I think no one is indispensable at all. And this is coming, and Dele Momodu cautioned Senate President to tread carefully ahead of the 2027 election, warning that nobody is indispensable. At this point, there are speculations that maybe Ganduje, was forced to resign, or there are reasons for him to have tendered his resignation at this point in time. even though we heard that he decided to resign due to ill health. Do you think that it might have been pressure, from a chieftain of the APC to have caused Ganduje to resign? Because Dele Momodu, mentioned Ambode's during Ambode's time when he was the governor of Lagos State that it was due to some fracas between him and President Bola Tinubu, when President Bola Tinubu was not even the president at the time, that made him not to run for second term. And even for Sanwo-Olu, it was a narrow escape, and saying that he should tread carefully.
Well, what I would say is that people are entitled to their opinion. So I think that's the opinion of Mr. Dele Momodu, and he has an advice for the Senate president. But looking at what has happened by either we call it resignation or maybe sack, or how do we call it, of the former national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, former governor of Kano State, Alhaji Abdullahi Ganduje. What I will say is that this is not new. As I've said earlier, everything is pointing towards the 2027 election. So the ruling party is not immune from some of these crises. It has always been the practice. If you look back, you see that even the person that was the chairman before this, before Ganduje, there was a way he had to leave. It was not easy for him to leave the post. So it has always been like that. That once the election is approaching, people put up a lot of schemes, a lot of political plannings in order to maybe for their personal interests. But I think it's within the right of the former chairman to resign if he feels is no more, like if he thinks that's the best thing for him to do, whether it's due to ill health or any other reason. But as we know, everything is pointing to 2027. There have been discussions in some quarters about the fact that maybe the president is considering picking a vice presidential candidate for the 2027 election from the northwestern region. So maybe that is part of, and if the vice president should come from the northwest, automatically the national chairman might want to shift to a different region. Maybe that's one of the reasons. There are a lot of speculations and a lot of things, and most times these things come out, if not totally true, but there are some element of truth in some of these things. But I know that these are some of the schemes ahead of 2027 election. But for us as a people, it's still a party affair, a political party affairs for the All Progressives Congress. It is for us as the people, as electorate, we wait for each of the political parties to come up with their candidates, then we assess them to make our choice when it's time. So it's within the right of the former chairman to have resigned if he thinks that's the best thing for him to do. But I think everything is pointing towards 2027. Yeah, thank you.
Don't you think, the talk about 2027 is already getting heated up while we're still in 2025? And people feel like if this is already happening in 2025, what will be left of Nigeria when we approach, the general elections in 2027? Do you think we've had this, this tough, like it's still 2 years to the time of the elections, and discussions are already being heated up. The polity is overwhelmed by talks, discussions, and people's ambitions and interests before 2027.
Well, I think it's very disturbing that we are spending a lot of time talking about the 2027 election instead of us focusing on the real problems that we are facing, talking about the insecurity, the power issues, a lot of issues that we are facing as a country. I think this issue actually boils down to, if I may say, maybe the president or the ruling party. I think they started this idea of, there was a time about, I think last month they had a summit of our political APC where they actually endorsed the president as a candidate for the 2027. I think that was too early for me because at this point, the president and if all the political leaders should be concerned about delivering their political mandate, their manifesto, what they promised in the last election. It's too early for, and even going by the INEC guidelines, it is not yet time for political activities. So for me, it's very saddening that I think it's a kind of distraction because it makes people to focus on to lose focus on what the real issues that we are supposed to be concerned about. So I think the everything boils down to the kind of outlook the president gives out. I think the president has shown that as much as he's trying to deliver on his campaign promises, he still have some kind of is giving some attention towards 2027, and we can see that people are now picking the signal from the president. People are now going around, even doing sort of things ahead of 2027, which is not supposed to be because it's too early. For now, we're supposed to be focusing on delivering governance for the people of Nigeria. So I think it's too early for me, and I think it's the right time for INEC to come in to send a note of warning to the political parties that it is not yet time for political activities. And the government should be, and for the presidency and the federal government and the ruling party, I think they should be focusing on delivering the mandate for the people of Nigeria. Thank you.
Yeah, Sir Abdul Malik, before we let you go, so there's this story on marketers. We've seen in recent times that Dangote Petroleum Refineries has made cuts in the price of premium motor spirits, petrol pump price. We've seen consecutively this year alone, maybe like 6 times. And now marketers are groaning, saying that this is not, good for us, because they say if we have, this product, and we buy at a particular price, and now you decided to slash the price while we still have, the product, the time we bought it before the slash, it's not going to help our markets. Should we worry? Because at this point, the latest slash, marketers have said they are not going to adjust their pump price or reduce it because they have to exhaust everything they have. Do you think this continuous slash in premium motor spirit pump price of petrol by Dangote, I know it's a welcome development, but now, it's as if it's not something that marketers feel good about?
Thank you. For me, there are two ways to look at it. In one way, this kind of competition, if it is a kind of healthy competition, I think is a good one for the sector and even for Nigerians as a whole. For us that we buy the products, because when there is this healthy competition rather between these marketers and other operators, it crashes the price of the product. But as we are seeing, there is a different dimension to this type of clashes between the Dangote and the marketers. I think the federal government set up a committee to bring these people together. I think they need to go back to that committee or to that table to ensure that everything they are doing does not impact the people negatively. But the way I'm seeing this crisis, I think is not good it may not be good for the people, because they need to since Dangote is an indigenous company, the marketers are indigenous people, marketers, Nigerian marketers. So I think they need to come together to reach a kind of agreement, because it's not possible for us to have refined products in Nigeria, then we sell it outside, while we have people who need the product right here. So if Dangote is not able to reach agreement with the marketers, you want to sell the product outside, which may not be too good for us. So I think they need to come together, and the Ministry of Petroleum Resources and the NNPC, I think they need to come in between them to find a solution to this. But if it is a healthy competition, I think it's good for Nigerians who buy the product. But the way it is going is good for the NNPC, which is the regulator, to come in between them to find a lasting solution to this. We have oil in Nigeria, for God's sake, and we should not be buying it as an exorbitant rate. So it's good for two of them, both the Dangote and the marketers, to come together to reach an agreement, because it's good for us to buy our own products. It's much easier for us to get our own product, to buy it, than importing it from other countries. So it is for the NNPC, which is the regulator, to come in between them to see to the issues and find a solution to it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. We appreciate your contributions, Salman Abdul Malik. We hope this does not get to be, the only time you join us on the show. We would want to have you more on the show on Newspaper Review.
All right, thank you for having me. It's my pleasure, and I wish you a good day. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank you.
do
Same
have a
here.
great day, sir.
And you too. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, that's it on Newspaper Review this morning. I'm not sure we can take any other stories because time is not on our side. Today is the second day of July. Remember, since the second half of the year started, you had a plan, you had a goal, even before beginning of this year. Do well to follow it through. First half is gone. Don't stay on any regrets. There's something I used to say to people, that regrets is a load of bad coins. You cannot spend it, so trash it in the can and focus on what's before you. That's the second half of the year. Jump on that goal again and try for a second time, because if you don't try, you never know what you can do. They say the world is your oyster. Thank you for joining us on Newspaper Review this morning. We apologize for the glitch on our Facebook page. There is a comment there by Sir Julius Adegbina, says, good morning, network call. We apologize. Network call is the weather. The weather has not been, it's been a cloudy, cold weather, and it's disrupting, the telecoms network. We sincerely apologize. We hope it gets better, because this is beyond us. So our telecoms company, do well, to provide us good service. We need it. Thank you. It's due motto. Don't let us fight.
Yeah, it's just the second half of the year, and I always say, let's reassess our goal and then let's keep moving on. And I know that one day it will pay. I am Aisha Ibrahim, and thanks for joining the Newspaper Review for this morning.
Yamoluwa Funke Israel. My producer is Mujib Olakume. Thank you for your great assistance on Newspaper Review. Until we come your way again tomorrow, you have yourself a delightsome day.